Digital assets in Axie Infinity crashed 99% because the play to earn model was a mathematical death trap. By prioritizing extraction over enjoyment, these ecosystems collapsed under their own weight. Now, a pivot to play and earn is desperate to save the concept of digital ownership before players abandon the space entirely. I am uncovering the structural failure behind this transition and why this third evolutionary path is the only way games survive. That down for you right at the end. Grab a glass of water, get settled, and let us get into the mechanics of this. To understand where we are going, we first have to look at where we started. Think back to the summer of 2021. Axie Infinity exploded. It felt like a gold rush for gamers in places like the Philippines and Venezuela. People were quitting their jobs to play a monster battling game. It was the birth of play to earn. The promise was simple. If you spend your time in the game, you earn tokens that have real world value. But the math behind it was fundamentally flawed. The entire system relied on an endless stream of new players pouring money into the ecosystem to pay the existing ones. When the supply of new users slowed down, the token price collapsed. People lost everything. It was a stark lesson in economic sustainability. That is point number one, the unsustainable cycle of early crypto gaming. You see, play to earn treated the game like a job, but without the benefit of a productive output. There was no fun being generated, only extraction. When you turn a game into a purely extractive financial instrument, you eventually run out of people to extract value from. Now, here is where things get interesting. Developers realized that if they wanted to stay in business, the game itself had to be the primary product. They moved away from the jobs for tokens model and toward the play and earn concept. If you are finding this breakdown helpful, hit subscribe. I drop deep dives like this every single week. In a play and earn environment, the token is a secondary bonus, not the sole reason for playing. Think of it like unlocking a digital collectible that you actually own rather than a currency you are mining. Take a look at games like Shrapnel or Big Time. These games focus on quality first. They are competing with traditional titles on platforms like Steam or Epic Games. They offer immersive experiences, high-fidelity graphics, and complex strategy. If you stop earning tokens tomorrow, you would still play the game because it is fun. That is the shift from extraction to enjoyment. A study from the Blockchain Game Alliance in 2023 showed that player retention in titles emphasizing gameplay over token rewards was 60% higher than in pure play-to-earn models. That is a massive difference. It proves that people want to play games, not just work spreadsheets masquerading as fantasy worlds. But wait, I promised you something even better than these two models. We need to talk about the future, which is simply play to own. This is the third point and the one I have been saving for you. In the play to own model, your time and your effort are converted into permanent digital assets that exist independently of the game server. Imagine you spend 50 hours grinding to craft a rare legendary sword. In a traditional game, that sword belongs to the developer. They can nerf it, remove it, or shut down the server, and your 50 hours are erased. In a true play to own ecosystem, that sword is an asset in your crypto wallet. It is a sovereign piece of digital property. You can sell it, lend it, or keep it as a trophy for years to come. It is not about earning a token that might crash in value tomorrow. It is about the absolute ownership of the items you work to acquire. Think about the implications of that for a second. This turns gaming from a sinking hole of personal investment into a portfolio of digital assets. The developer doesn't need to inflate the token supply to keep you happy. They just need to keep creating content that makes your items more desirable. It aligns the incentives of the players and the creators. When the game thrives, the value of the assets you already own goes up. You aren't playing to get paid. You are playing to accumulate value in a digital space. It is a subtle but massive psychological distinction. You aren't looking at your bank account every 5 minutes waiting for a payout. You are building something lasting. The data from emerging marketplaces shows that items with proven ownership history and utility consistently hold their value, even when the broader crypto market faces significant downward pressure. Let that sink in. A digital asset that survives a market downturn because it actually has utility and cultural weight within its ecosystem. That is the evolution we are currently witnessing. From the reckless volatility of play to earn to the player-centric sustainability of play and earn, and finally to the true sovereignty of play to own. When you see a project claiming to be a play to earn giant, be cautious. Look for the gameplay loop. Look for the utility of the assets. Ask yourself, would I play this if it didn't have a token? If the answer is no, you aren't playing a game. You are participating in a high-risk financial experiment. But if the answer is yes, you might be looking at the next generation of digital entertainment. It is an exciting time to be an observer in this space. The technology is maturing, the developers are learning, and the players are becoming more sophisticated. We are moving away from the get-rich-quick mentality that defined the early days of this movement. Instead, we are entering an era where digital goods are treated with the same respect as physical assets. The goal is no longer just to earn, it is to build. build a collection, build a reputation, and build a digital identity that travels with you across different games. That is what this is all about. If you got value from this, share it with someone who needs to hear the truth about crypto gaming and subscribe so you don't miss the next one. I have a piece coming next week on the security risks of decentralized wallets that you really don't want to miss. Stay smart, stay skeptical, and keep playing. You have all the tools now to distinguish the hype from the real innovation. It's been a pleasure walking through this with you. See you in the next one.